Hi, welcome back to our next episode in our Black Excellence series. Featuring Black Hoosiers who are exuding excellence. Today, our guest is Donte Wilburn. He was or is the entrepreneur ship I cannot get my words together. He is the entrepreneurship business person of the year for Indiana. He's also the owner of Premier Detailing and Wash and of Lafayette Legacy Courts. Donte, welcome to our show.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you, Shantae.
Good to see you. Could you tell our listeners, our youth out there, how you became an entrepreneur and what kids need to know who are thinking about one day becoming an entrepreneur just like you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. And I just want to say to everyone listening is I started on the wrong side of the tracks, right? So I grew up with a great family. When I got to around teenage age, I started selling drugs, got in some trouble, and got put into the judicial system for that. And when I was in the judicial system, I changed my whole life and grew where I was planted. I was at a auto detailing company making minimum wage, and I knew I wanted to be something better in life. And when I was in this auto detailing company, I hated how the people were treated, and I hated how, as far as the employees, and I hated how the customers were treated. And as in my complaining, I heard a small, still voice told me, if you don't like it, then do something about it. So making minimum wage, I end up staying in the occupation of auto detailing. I end up buying the company that I work for. I started out with 5 employees doing about $250,000 a year. And then in 2008, scaled it. And we did about $1.4 million in 2018. And then we opened a second location in 2020. And you guys know I actually opened it April 15th of 2020.
Mm.
You realize that was the heart of COVID, right? And so I wasn't gonna do it, but my business mentor said, Donte, do it anyway. I know you're fearful, but do it anyway. And I was like, how could I open up a new company in the heart of COVID? They're shutting companies down. He says, do it. And so we opened a new location in 2020 in Kokomo, Indiana. And between the two stores, we do about $2.3 million. And we have 40 employees at work. We're going to open up an Avon location, hopefully by the end of this year. And our goal is to have 50 locations. So any entrepreneurs that want to be in the auto detailing industry, definitely reach out. And it's going to be a good time. So that's kind of the journey in auto detailing. And then May of last year, purchased a $3 million acquisition called Legacy Courts. It's me and 3 other partners. We serve about 215,000 participants a year. And since May of last year when we first opened it, so our 1-year anniversary is coming up, I think next week. Our first year, we doubled the revenue. We doubled the revenue from the people that had it before us. So yeah, all good things happening, and that's kind of where we're at.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that because you started off as just an employee of and making $7.25 an hour, and then you worked your way up to being an owner, but not just an owner of one location, but an owner of multiple locations with the goal of getting to 50 locations. So I think it's important for our youth to know that it doesn't really matter where you start. If you just keep moving forward, you can get there. And I think it would be helpful for our youth to know a little bit about your see, shift, and sustain model. So can you tell our youth about that model that you live by? Because I think that will be really helpful for them to know.
Yes, of course. So it's just three characteristics of change. So, like I said, I ended up in the judicial system through selling drugs. And so my life was in a downward spiral. And I found myself in this hole looking up at ground level. So I always encourage people that I mentor that a person that's in a hole cannot operate the same way a person on the ground level operates. And so they say when you're in a hole, the first thing you need to do is stop digging. So that's part of the C. Like you realize that you got yourself here, you dug this hole for yourself, and first admit that you did wrong to get yourself here, right? And so once you see intrinsically inside yourself and you realize that you got yourself here, next thing you do need to do is the hard work of sitting down and creating a plan and shifting your direction. So uh, I sat down and said, hey, I got myself here. What is it going to take to get me out of here? And sat down and made a plan. And when you sit down and make a plan, there's three basic elements to it. First is a vision. You want to know, I asked myself in 20 years, what do I want to be? What do I want to be? What do I want my income to be? What do I want my family to be? Where do I want to be living? And so I set the vision of how I wanted to be in 20 years. And then after I set that vision, I sat down and figured out, okay, a person that wants to get there, what do I need to do every day to be on track to head in that direction consistently? And so I found a plan of what I needed to do to get there. And I woke up every day with execution of that plan. And, you know, the amazing thing, Shantae, is direction can be changed overnight,
Mm.
right? So if I'm facing one direction, literally overnight, I can say, you know what? I'm done with facing this way. I'm gonna go this way. Okay. Set the plan. You can change your direction overnight. Now, where the rubber meets the road is destination. So once you change your direction, it's all about staying consistent, and that's the sustaining part. You got to stay consistent for over a period of time to reach the destination. Because I guarantee, Shantae, even if I'm trying to walk from Indiana to Ohio, I stay in the right direction over time, I will eventually do what?
Get to Ohio.
Get to Ohio. So that's the motto. See where you're at, shift where you're from, make your plan, and then sustain that over a duration of time. It might be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years that you have to sustain it. And that's the key.
What advice do you have for youth when they're dealing with peer pressure and getting back on the right path when things are getting hard? So even if they're on the right path, but things are hard, like what advice do you have to youth when life gets hard, whether they're on the right path or the wrong path, and how can they move forward? What, even if you were talking to your younger self, like what would you say?
So first so you become what you behold. Okay. So me, my lifestyle, I glorified, I mean, man, Shantae, if you would have seen around my room, I had like Scarface posters, Goodfellas. I beheld this drug dealing life. I listened to all the music, right? I beheld it consistently till I became it. So you behold what you behold is what you become. So if you want to change, all you have to do is start beholding something different, right? So when my change happened, I started reading books. I started listening to audio books. I started listening to different sermons, reading my Bible. I found mentors that were instrumental in my life. They taught me the keys of wisdom. I mean, so all of these different things was a melting pot of beholding something different than I did before. So that would be my advice is you become what you behold. So whatever you want to become, you need to start learning it, be around it, listen to it. And another thing is, there's an old Hebrew scripture that says that if you instruct the wise, he will become yet wiser, but a fool will hate instruction. So I would say, listen, smart people are put around you for a reason. And when I say smart, everyone has this mentor in their life. Shantae, you can probably look back your life. Everyone has a deposited person, whether it's your father, whether it's your uncle, whether it's a co-worker, whether it's just a school counselor, whoever it is, it's going to be fed to you as instruction of how to go this way. Don't not listen to them. Listen to them. Obey instruction. So that those would be my advices for myself when I was younger, right? That's what I would tell my younger version.
So I appreciate that, because I think sometimes when you're young, you feel like everyone's always telling you what to do. And then sometimes you don't know how to get a mentor. And mentors are really anybody that's giving you advice to say, like, hey, don't do this, or do your homework, or, you should try more in class, or maybe try this sport, or how you consider this, instead of being resistant to that instruction, to that wisdom, to that knowledge. You can be like, wait a minute, why is this person taking the time, because they didn't have to take the time out of their life to say something to you? That means they see something in you, or see that you can be greater. So you have two choices. You can ignore it and go on, or you can say, you know what, I don't really want to be told what to do, but maybe I should just go do this and see what happens. So I really appreciate that message that you gave to you.
One more thing about what I tell my younger self. I want to get this in here. It just dawned on me as you were saying this. Don't give up. There was a point in my life that I became suicidal when I was going through what I was going through. And if I would have taken my life at that young age, I would have never accomplished what I've, you know what I'm saying? Like that, don't give up. There's so much more potential. I have a friend, when we were young, this guy took his life at 17 years old over a girl. And I just never forget when he committed suicide, that, man, he was 17. He doesn't realize he had 70, 80 years in front of him. So that's what that's another thing I would tell myself. Never, never, never give up, no matter how bad it looks.
Now, I appreciate that, because school is hard, especially elementary school, middle school, high school. I've worked in all of those settings, and there's different beasts or bullying or harassment. There's different things that can really get to a person, especially when they're young. And when I talk to kids who are struggling with different things, I can see past the moment that they're stuck in. And so I just want kids to be like, I know you can't see what Mrs. Barnes sees, but I can, if you just hang in there and you just keep moving forward. I trust me, there is something here, even though you can't see it. Just trust me enough to believe that you can get there. So I really appreciate that, because as you get older in life, you come across people who have chosen not to continue the fight, to move forward. And you just think about, man, I wish so-and-so was here for this, or I wish they could see this. And man, look at what we could have been doing together. So if any student is listening to this, I really want you to hear that. Keep going. And if things are getting hard, talk to a trusted adult to get someone to help and to support you, because you may feel alone, but you are not alone. And just voicing how you're feeling to someone else, now is one way to get a mentor, get connected, or get the support that you need, so you can continue to move forward. Final thoughts, Donte. If there is any final thoughts that you will leave for our audience today, when it comes to, because a lot of times in schools, we say that we want kids to be career and college ready. And I met you when I was at Purdue. You were at Purdue at that same time. And then we met at the church that we were attending while we were at college. What do you say to kids who are like, I want to be an entrepreneur, but my mom and dad's like, go to college or join the military or come do this. Like, what advice do you have? What final thoughts do you have for kids who want to be an entrepreneur? And then because you did go to college at Purdue, do you suggest that to students that they should also still consider that college path? So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I will always encourage going to college. And but it's not mandatory. It's not nearly mandatory. The only reason why I encourage to go to college is because I don't think it's about the degree. I think it's about the tenacity to be able to be given a lot of different deadlines and to be able to complete them at a higher level. And then it also teaches you on how to schedule your time, time block. See, in high school, it's like, okay, bell rings, go to here, bell rings, go to here. College, you ain't got to go to class, right? Like you can
Right.
literally get to school, right? So you have to, on your own, have the grit to make it through this project, this midterm, this final. And so they put you through this ringer, and they're trying to develop grit in you. Now, some people might just need to take 1 year. Some people might need to take you 2 years. Some people might have the grit naturally in you, and you don't need college. So never think that you have to go, but I do encourage it because it does build in you a grit. But final thoughts for me is create a plan for your life. I cannot stress this enough. Listen, this is a key to wisdom. Most people don't get what they want because they don't know what they want. It's very, very critical to write out a plan of really what you want. And I use the magic wand theory. So I literally sit down and said, if I could wave a magic wand and I can have my life like I want it to be in 20 years, what would that look like? And there's nothing off the table. It's a magic wand, right? So I sit down and I craft a plan. I would like this, and I would want to be this. After you create a plan, now you just have to figure out how you get there. So at a young age, if I was speaking to my younger self at 14, at 10 years old, I would start thinking about what do I want my life to look like and what do I really want in life, and start at a young age. That's amazing to do.
Yeah, and kids, even teachers that are watching this, you're never too young to make a plan for your life.
Right.
And just like Donte said about going from Indiana to Ohio, once you know your destination is Ohio, your destination may be to have my own business. Your destination may be go to college. Now you know what your destination you want that to be. You've done the magic wand, and now you're just playing the steps to get there. I want to get it right this time because I don't know why I got so tongue tied, but earlier. But I really, really appreciate having Donte on our show, who is the Indiana Small Business Entrepreneur of the Year, which is just so excellent. And I told Donte earlier today that even though I see him as being successful, and clearly Indiana sees him as being successful because they granted him this great award, I know that this is just the beginning for him, and I know there's going to be more to come. I mean, even though life is short, we still have many things that we can do over time. Yep. And that is the award, the Small Business Award. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And last, I would be remiss if I didn't thank Keep Indiana Learning for this series. Stay tuned. There will be more guests from Indiana that I'll be speaking to that you can learn from youth. So if you go and Google Donte Wilburn, you will find articles about him. You'll come across his company. You'll come across his work. And so you can kind of see some of the things that he's talked about on this episode today. So Donte, thank you so much for your time today. And it's always a joy to talk to you.
I appreciate keeping Indiana learning.